So I came down to this ledge line here, and rather than just working it a couple times and moving on, I'm gonna go parallel with it and use the motor, use the torpedo to keep myself right above it and really just cast into that push water right on the upstream side of that drop off. And I'll do that each time I come to the next drop off that in this series of ledges here, just running them parallel, casting out in front of them parallel, immediately upstream. If it was a little bit colder, in the fall, for sure I get on the downstream side and do the same thing, but it's summer and they like being on the upstream side of it. So the concept of casting parallel to all sorts of things is something that should always be on your mind when you're out there trying to catch fish. You look for linear things. In the case of that video, that short clip, it was a ledge rock. In the case of where I was 2 days ago trying to catch tidal largemouth and snakehead, it was a grass line. You're always looking for where, what linear type thing is out there that I need to position my boat so that my cast goes along it, so that my bait is in the strike zone for as long as possible. Let me give you a quick illustration to show you really what amounts to stacking the deck in your favor in terms of keeping your bait in that strike zone as long as possible. All right, let's look at these. These are a series of ledges on the Susquehanna River, and the dark line I put here with the regular pen are those ledge rocks, and then the green lines I put immediately above it is really the push water, the water that's accelerating. It's deeper water out here, and it comes up shallow right before that ledge rock. And my approach when I come down and work a set of ledges is to really keep, to position my boat. I'll come down and position my boat, say there, and I'll make a cast as close as I can to it, and I stay completely in that green zone on the the entire duration of this cast. Let's look at the opposite of that. Whereas if you're positioned up above it and you're casting directly down to the center of it, during that retrieve, there's about 5% of the cast that's in that sweet spot. The rest of this is useless time. If that's where they are, this is a waste. In order to really make the most of this ledge rock, wait till you're here, tread water, and I use the motor, cast to the far side, and then keep it in the green. The green zone is the strike zone. So I move from ledge rock to ledge rock to ledge rock, and I hit all of it. If you can do that, by the time you've moved from up here to down here, let's quantify that. Say that you've hit this ledge rock on the push water, and then you went to this one and you brought it across, and then this one and you brought it across, and then you drop down here and you got that one, you cast this one, you kind of ferried your way across using the motor or paddle, whatever you got. You hit this one, you get to here, you cast across this one, you move over to here. Honestly, this is why I made that video on that's called, I named it paddle work, but it's about the sculling draw, and it's about paddling using both your arms and then grabbing the paddle in the center of the in the center, you'll have to look it up. It's on the kayak fishing skills one. I grab the paddle in the center and I use my elbows to do those quick little positioning moves. It's under the kayak fishing skills playlist. I think this one will be too. But it's why those, those paddling skills are so critical. And also having foot control steering on your Torqeedo. Anyways, you're going along here and you're dropping down. You're dropping down, and then you hit this one, and then maybe you move over here, you position here, you cast there. You're gonna have caught a lot of fish, hitting a lot of that push water, but you're visualizing, okay, where, what linear thing is out there that I really need to work. Now let's compare that to, okay, you've come down through here, and maybe you even went to this position, and maybe you hit some green stuff there, but you only clipped one little bit. But this cast was, most of it not real fruitful. You get to this position and you get a little bit of the good cast, good water, and the rest of this is useless. Then you come straight down through here, position here, maybe you get a little bit of this, but then that isn't useful, and you keep going straight through, and you get one good cast where 5% of it's in that push water, and then the rest is useful, and then you continue on down. So you can see where I'm talking about. I didn't center that real well for you, sorry. But you can see that, if you just take, this path and you go straight through there, you're not working all of this real well, but you're not working a lot of it efficiently. You had strike zone there, a little bit there, and there. And that was it. 4 places as opposed to, 40? So you can use this for any sort of linear thing that you could come up with. I'm going to give you one more, and it is, I'm just going to pick Lake Marburg in the middle of, in the middle of summer, okay? So there's a point, actually, we're going to come out of this little cove here, that cuts back, this comes around there, this comes to the point, there's... So let's get that centered. Grass, subaquatic vegetation band all the way through here. All right. And then beyond this, there's no grass. No subaquatic vegetation out here in this deep water because it's too deep to grow it. Like the light can't penetrate or whatever it is. My favorite thing to do in the summer is to map this out with waypoints, a series of waypoints where I mark the edge of that deep grass. And again, it's finding ways with all these little waypoints. And I can see, with the side image, I mark all these waypoints, right? What I do is I get back here and I make a long cast with a heavy jig out there. What am I doing? I'm dragging that jig right along, casting parallel. Now it's not a cast and retrieve like I did, here on the river with a crankbait or buzzbait or whatever. Different than that, but it's the same, that I'm keeping it in that strike zone. The strike zone for this deep grass is where it transitioned from vegetation to no vegetation. Take that jig and just tickle and drag and rip it through this zone here. Then get up to here, make another cast out, and then bring it through there. The 3/8 ounce dragon head is really good at coming through this confidence baits dragon head. Is good for doing this. So you can do it with a heavier jig. Then I move to this point. I cast here, and I drag it through there, and then I cast there. But you have to visualize the line by using side imaging, dropping a bunch of waypoints, but it's the same concept as what I was doing on the river. It's the same thing that I've done snakehead fishing yesterday. Tide was coming in. That muddier water was coming in. I needed to get on that grass bed and cast that jackhammer along that grass edge, because that was the point at which those snakehead were pointed out, looking for something to come by. Find something linear, cast parallel to it, and the time your bait spends in productive water is going to skyrocket. Hope that helps. See ya.